Check Discord. What's on Discord? Oh, I've seen that, yeah. I might join later though. Cause I'm in too many Discord servers right now. It's a bit much. I might come back to that in a few weeks. Yeah. If you want, remind me about it at the end of February. That would be great. If I don't do it myself. Chat. Hi. How are you? How is everyone? Chat. You wanna try out YouTube? You're streaming on YouTube at the same time. Wanna check out how the quality over there is? Yeah, do that. Would be perfect. Let me just tweet this out that we're streaming on both platforms now. Cymex should be here, that would be awesome, because this should be a good alternative for people that... so the idea is that people now can watch it here if they want different resolutions and stuff. I'm not sure how the... We're gonna do something very light, but I only have like 1 hour today. How's the quality here? Okay, so today we have... we actually have different settings here. But now you can also watch it on YouTube. And they should automatically be saved here, I'm pretty sure. Let's tweet out. What's the YouTube link? Sounds a bit low? Oh. My sound in general, or... Wait, let me crank up the microphone a bit. Is that better? In general? Didn't change anything though. But yeah, I see it. Let me check. Wait, let me tweet this out first and then I'm gonna check that out. Can I just send this link? And Twitch. Twitch.tv/ I don't know my channel actually. I think it's this one. Yeah. Let's go. Perfect. Here we go. Chat, this might be a topic that is not super interesting for some of you guys, but this is for... It's a bit important for my school. For my college thingies and everything. Yeah, I have class too in an hour. So that's why we only have 1 hour. So I have class then. And today it's about databases again. So yeah. I was curious if I can maybe learn a bit about database stuff here. Just a bit SQL stuff, so if you want to stick around. It's going to be a very short stream, maybe an hour-ish from now. Yeah. Yours in 50. Okay, you need to hurry then. Let me just see if I can crank the mic up. Where's the... Okay, let me crank it up. Is that better? It should be super loud now. Yeah, I'm studying SQL at like 0 knowledge. I opened my what do you want to call it? My notes and everything. Wait, the sound was perfect? Oh, damn it. Okay, let me crank it down again. Wait, I can't crank it down on the mic itself. Okay. This should be better. Okay. Yeah, databases are no joke. Like, this is about structuring databases and stuff like that. So now I'm using... I need to learn a bit... I basically need to learn 2 major topics. First of all, how to structure a database. Like taking the data, splitting it up, what's the logical way to structure it, to split it up and everything. And then the second part would be basically putting it in a database properly. An SQL database, that's the idea. I haven't done any of both ever. So yeah, that's basically what I need to learn in the next 2 weeks. Well, that and other stuff, that's just for this class. So I don't need to do this SQL thing, but I thought maybe it is a cool idea just to do that on Steam. Maybe I can get started today. And DB diagram? Okay, let me check. What would I do without my chat? Yeah, something like this. So it goes in that direction later. But also, what is quite important later is, okay, what's the logical connections between, or the logical links between the data nodes and stuff like that. Also, what's really confusing right now, for me at least, is all my courses are in German, of course, because yeah, German school. When I talk with you guys, I have no idea like what most of these things are called in. I mean, most of these things. Okay, I know some things, but like a broad term, there are, like from the broader scheme, there's a lot of words I still don't know yet that I need to learn, and I need to learn them in English and basically German at the same time, which is confusing. So I'm messing all that thing up. Prisma. So the thing is, we basically have a database. So I basically get an empty database. My Excel. Well, that would be a thing. Let me come back to that. But we basically get an empty database, and then we get a data set. And from that data set, we need to take, build a logical explanation. Okay, this is why I split the data up like this and that. This is how I see the correlations between items or attributes, stuff like that. I'm going to split the database up like this and that, yada, yada, yada. Maybe a diagram, I'm not sure how that works. And then we have an empty, well, I assume we have a system because it's going to be remote test. So I assume we have a system or something, and then we need to just put that data in there. So we have a data, I think it's MariaDB or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's MariaDB, so something pretty casual. But I've never worked with it. Yeah. SQL with PHP. I have no clue how it will work. I know I'm not at that point yet. I'm still at the theory part of the class. We're probably gonna. I know that we're gonna use the Oracle SQL developer to interact with the database. I actually can't do it right now because I'm not in the VPN. So I could do it in the CLI. It's easier for me to learn it here though, first, and then switch to the to CLI later. So for the test, I'm probably gonna use something like that, just because it's easier visually for me to see things. I don't think we need. I don't know yet how this exactly works, so I'm probably gonna see this tomorrow or the day after tomorrow in my course or something. I didn't pay much attention, to be honest. I like to do everything at the end of the semester and just learn everything together. That's just how I work. Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing right now. And that's one class out of 4. Let's see what we can do in an hour. So SQL, yada yada yada. So what SQL is, keep state accurate. SQL languages that we used. But if you guys are interested in this stuff, we can actually, after my exams or so, we could actually go from 0 to setting up a mini database and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know how interesting that is for you guys. So assume this is just how you interact with the developer itself, right? With plain SQL statements that you put in here to give it commands. And then you just, I think there's a button later, a green button or something here. And you just interact that way with it. Let me try that. Yay! Have I studied? I just started studying this. I'm in the first, it's my first semester about databases. It's gonna be later database forensics, but to understand what you should be looking at and what you should be searching for. Well, you need to understand how to set it up. That's the idea behind it. It's not going to be super deep into setting up it later, but it's probably going to be one semester about setting it up, how to structure database, and then later to perform forensics on it. Yeah, they are not all the same. That's true. But it's hard. I don't think they have something specific about MariaDB. But I thought just starting with base SQL should be pretty secure. I mean, I know that I can switch from. So if I understand this, I should be able to pretty quickly switch from this to like something else, like other SQL product, right? Like MySQL or something like that. Yeah, but I needed the starting point. Also, if you guys have resources, I would love to hear from that. I often fall back to Codecademy, but if there are other resources for that, yeah. Don't trust user input. Yeah, but it's not like we're gonna develop something later with it. Like, we are not gonna be the ones that gonna develop a platform later. We're basically gonna be the guys that, yeah, if someone. But here's the use case. So if imagine there's Black Hat or something like that, a Black Hat grade, I don't know, like someone's coming and fucking a database up. Free code camp is good, yeah, that's a good idea. Someone's messing with database, SQL injection, stuff like that, or even just hammering with SQL map. let's say at small company or even a bank or something like that. Basically, you as a forensics expert, you get called, you analyze the situation, you take the database server with you, or even at locally you analyze the database system. And this is why we learned this, right? So what should I analyze? What should I see? Where are the logs? What is happening? How was the database structured? Which part of the database or of the DBS was attacked? Which specific database? Maybe also consulting beforehand. So maybe that you how to better structure the database. Yeah, stuff like that. So this is why we're starting out with this. So we pulled out the information. So Justin Bieber, message, okay. So we see how it is structured. It's ID, name, age, and then we see the data type, so integer, text, and integer. Okay. Great. Cool. So there, explain us a bit how this all is structured. So we have a relational database. So this contains one table. Yes. So table is a collection of data organized into rows and columns. Tables are sometimes referred as relations. So in this case we're talking to the, or we requesting something from the slabs tables. So we have a column, which is basically one entity that holds information, a set of values. So we have column for ID, name, age, and then their values. So in this case, they call it a row. Okay, so all of this is different, for example, from the terminology that I learned, because it's German. But yeah, should get the idea. So in here we see how it's structured, then we see what data types there are. So wheel, date, text, integer, stuff like that. Nothing too complex. Okay. So we have a big SQL statement with multiple things in it. So that's one. So one statement is basically one. It's kind of like a command. So yeah, statement ending in a semicolon. If you're more on the pen testing side, in that regard, or you fiddle around with SQL injection, you definitely see the semicolon to see how it is, if it is escaping this, if you can input this or trigger an error, stuff like that easily. Combining it with something else, single quote, stuff like that, depends on what it is. But yeah, semicolon is pretty important to see, okay, where's the statement actually ending. Create table is a clause. Clauses perform specific tasks in SQL. By convention, clauses are written in capital letters, so all capital here. So basically, yeah, command. Then the table name. So we saw that. That's what slabs earlier was. Then all in here we see in that table name the column and the data type. So this is basically the initialization of one table with 3 columns and their corresponding data types. So they call this parameter and an argument. Okay. So argument is okay, that we know. Download this. Okay, I'm gonna have a look at it later. I assume it's an ebook or something. Yeah, it's a book. Okay. Gonna have a look at it later. Thank you though. So that's the same statement as we had before. Let's do that again. So select. So the asterisk is basically select everything. If you've never used that, so if you want to see everything that is in a specific table, all the columns and everything, and then we specific the table. Oops. Chat, now I have this keyboard now since Christmas. I still am not. That's now 1 month exactly. I'm still not used to the US layout. I'm never gonna get used to it. So we're gonna run this. So we saw again that it ran. So which part of the statement are the clauses? What table are we applying the commands to? So we know that this is the this is the clause. So we select something, and this I'm not sure if this is also considered a clause, but I would say so. So we specify from which table, and then the table itself. Okay, they are both clauses. Okay, good. And then the celebs table. Okay, perfect. Let's move on. So we're gonna create a new one. Chat. Can we create a chat table? So create so another clause or statement. So we can create a new one. We just saw that. So here's a more specific example. So we create the table slabs. We say, hey, there's a column ID for with the total data type integer, column name with text, and column age with integer. Also, we've learned, for example, in the structuring why this is you shouldn't do this. Why? I didn't know this, but for example, why age I mean it depends on your database, but generally, if it holds information about users or something like that, like this would be bad practice. So we know that. So let's move on. So we're gonna select again everything from celeb. So nothing happens. So database is empty, and we're gonna create a new one. So let's type everything out. So create a table, and we're gonna call it. Do I have to call it like? Oh, whatever. I'm gonna stick with them. I want to call it Twitch chat or something. So we wrap everything in parentheses. So we're gonna do one column ID, which holds the data type integer. We have one name holding text, and we have one age with integer. Okay, and the semicolon. So I assume it executes everything then. Okay, perfect, that worked. So next one, now we have the table, but it's empty, but the columns are in there. So I'm not sure what happens actually if we now do this, if the columns are, or basically if there's no data in it. Let's just test it. Okay, so it's empty, but we see the schema. Okay, so that's how they represent it, but at least we see the schema. So it's there, but it's empty. So here we have a few other statements again. So in this time it is insert into. So into another one. Just kind of stuff that you need to remember. I guess there are cheat sheets that I'm going to print out for this for the first 2 weeks. Just to better remember it. But it's, I mean, makes sense, right? Not too crazy. So we're gonna follow along. We're gonna insert into celebs, and then now we need to be more specific. So this is in what order? So first ID, then something in name, and then in age. It's kind of the parameters for the next ones, and then the values. Oops, values. I assume if we don't give it anything, it will error out. Yeah, and I mean this is a custom thing, but yeah, gave nothing. So let's give it actual values. So we're gonna give it ID 1, a name. Oops. So Justin Bieber. And we're gonna give it the age 22. Okay. So we're gonna add the other 3 in there. So here's my question, chat, and you might know this probably. So they group it for every single entry, right? So always that statement or that clause insert into, and then so on, and then the actual values. Do you need to do that every time, or could you just do this statement once and then give it the value row 3 times with different values? Is that a thing? I mean, we could try it, but maybe someone knows it already. I'm just gonna copy this at this point, otherwise we lose too much time. So this is number 2. So we have nodes h33. Jeremy Lin 26 and Taylor Swift 26. Should be able to with a comma between value groups. I mean, let's try it. I want to try it. Oops. So instead of ending our statement here, we're going to take them away. And we're going to give them commas, and then the last one goes semicolon. So let's see what happens here. No, doesn't like that. It wants a wow. I don't know if this is specific to this one though. Oh, should only. Oh, the values. Okay. So you do one big one like this. Not Calus. And then you give it the... Oh, with the parentheses. Okay, I was wondering if you put everything in the parentheses and just give it comma, comma, comma. Or if you split them. Okay. So let me try that. So it would mean like this. So what would this do? It actually takes this. Okay. So if we give it a select statement, just to check how it looks. Okay, that actually worked. But I have a mistake here. Are they both 26? Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So that's worked. Okay, so we can wrap everything in one line basically. Okay, cool. Great. So next one really quick. Just really quick, I'm gonna change the stream title. Okay. Perfect. Sorry, chat. What else? Yeah, let me just read up on this. Query. So there's a difference between a query and what we had before. Right, so an insert statement also considered a query? That's what I'm wondering at this point. Or is it? What's actually the German term for that? I am not sure. Oh, okay, a request. But it's kind of like a request. Okay. Makes more sense then. I mean, I know what a query is on a like daily basis when I use it, but it's didn't actually know the proper translation for it. Learned something new. Okay. So we know all of this. They are repeating themselves. So this time we only specify the names column. So select name from celebs. So now we only see the names. Delete to select all the data. So there's the wildcard asterisk. So again, like we had the first times, the wildcard, and then we see all the tables, and you can do that probably with all tables. Okay, perfect. Alter. Okay, alter, probably synonym for change, I would assume. So we modify something. So we add a new column. You can use this command when you want to add columns to the table. Okay. So I'm not sure if it is for anything else than just adding. So for the moment only adding. I'm not sure if it's also for deleting or for yeah, moving. I don't know. So we add a new column Twitter handle, which holds text. So nothing too crazy. So first we alter table, name of the table, so celebs. Then what we alter, so we add column. Okay, so I assume this is how it looks later. So alter is always, and then add column, delete column. I assume this is how it works. So Twitter handle, then it holds text. And then we print everything out to see how it looks. So now we have a new one, but they hold no data yet. Okay, so probably gonna add some stuff here. Okay, update. Okay, so okay, no, it's actually a bit different. So update is actually, yeah, update is update. So there's a difference between the alter and update. Okay, that's already confusing though, because both are kind of synonyms. I mean, it's not the exact same thing, but it goes in a similar direction. So let's do that. Alter changes data. Update changes data. Alter modifies schema. Okay, that is a much better explanation. That was, in a few words, a much better explanation than both my course and this course had. Thank you. That's so much easier to remember. So it's based on what you're working with or what you wanna change. So we're gonna give Twitter handle and then equal sign, and then actually what we're gonna add. So at Taylor Swift 13 for some reason, and then where ID equals where ID equals 4. So it's gonna look for ID 4 here, and then in that in the column Twitter handle, it's gonna update the value to this. Let's run this. Perfect. No, what did I miss? Oh, didn't print it out. I didn't select the celebs. Perfect, now we see it. So here's the Twitter handle now. Perfect. Okay, almost done with the first chapter, chat. Deleting. So we're gonna delete from celeb, then where Twitter handle is null. So null is also kind of a special data type here. So, or not data type, but yeah. Okay. You guys know what I mean. Whoops. Select from... This client is lagging, but I don't know why. So let's see what happens. I don't know if it deletes the whole entry, like everything, like all columns of it, or if it just... Let's see. So the Twitter handle is null is basically the first three. Let's see what's happening to them. Okay, deleted them completely. Okay. Interesting. Constraints. Constraints that add information about how a column can be used are invoked after specifying the data type for column. Huh. Interesting. So let's see how this looks. So this is how we had it earlier. So create table again, the same one. We add an ID again, integer, and I assume this is the constraint. So in this case, it is a primary key. The name is unique. The date of birth, I assume this means can't be null. And default looks like it would replace like the default value when it doesn't hold anything. So if it doesn't hold any information, it gives no applicable. Let's see how this works. So primary key columns can be used to uniquely identify the row. Attempts to insert the row with an identical value to row with constraints variation. Okay. Unique columns have a different value for every row. Oh, okay. So this is what it means. This is similar to primary key, except a table can have many different unique columns. Okay. Not null columns must have a value, so they need to have a value. Okay. Attempts to insert a row without a value for not null column will result in a constraint violation, and then the new row will not be inserted. And then default columns take an additional argument that will be the assumed value for an inserted row if the new row does not specify a value for the column. Okay, yeah. Okay. So let's try that. So create tables, awards. We have already slabs. Okay. Then we give it ID. Integer. This is our primary key. The recipient is a text and can't be null. And the award name is also text. And default value would be a Grammy. So here's the awards. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So last chapter here. Review. Well, we know what we just saw, so that's it. Okay, perfect. Ah! I have no pro. I'm a cheap one. I don't have pro side. How's the time? Okay, like 20 more minutes or so we have left. So we'll be learning different SQL commands to query a single table in a database. one of the correct purpose of the SQL language is to retrieve information stored in a database. This is commonly referred to as querying. Queries allow us to communicate with the database by asking questions and returning a result set with the data relevant to the question. Okay, so querying, that's a good way to put it. So querying is basically asking a question, retrieving something. Basically not what I'm doing later. So I'm more, what I should be more concerned for my classes would be putting everything in the database. But sure, let's do this. So let's create a new table. No, we have a table, sorry. We have a table, it's called movies. And we are just gonna output it. So fun fact, IBM started out SQL as SQL. Oh. It actually was called SQL. Okay, interesting. So let's see what is in movies. From movies. Oh my god, okay. Wait, there's a bunch of movies. Cool. Let me just quickly ban the bot out of the chat. There you go. Okay, so we have a bunch of information in here, or data, sorry. So previously we learned that select is used every time you want to query data with a database, and the wildcard means all the columns. Yep. Suppose we are only interested in 2 of the columns, we can select individual columns by their names, and you can separate. So basically, I would assume you can almost all the time try to just give, like your queries, just put everything together and then just split it up with commas. So we want name in our case, and we want a genre from movies. Perfect. So now we split it up a bit cleaner. Now we want the third column. So now we also want the year. Actually, I don't think we need that. And now we have the year too. Perfect. Knowing how select works, suppose we have that code below. Select name as titled. Select name as titled. Also, it outputs them and calls them titles in just in that case, I guess. So as is a keyword in SQL that allows you to rename a column or table using an alias. The new name can be anything you want as long as you put it inside of single quotes. Here we renamed name column titles. Some important things to note, although it's not always necessary, it's best practice to surround your aliases with single quotes. When using as, the columns are not being renamed in the table, the alias only appears in the results. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna do it with underscores, okay. So select, we're gonna select the name of the movies, and we're gonna output them as, how many are those? 1, 2, 3, 6. From movies. From movies, there we go. And so here we see the change, okay. Edit the query so that instead of selecting and renaming the name column, select the IMDb rating column and rename it as IMDb. So we want the IMDb rating, and we're gonna rename it as IMDb. Perfect. Works. Distinct. When we are examining data in a table, it can be helpful to know what distinct values exist. This is used to return unique values in the output. It filters out all duplicate values in the specific columns. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, for instance, select tools from inventory. So we see that we have hammer, nails, 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 nails. So nails is repeating. So if you only want to see it once, you just add distinct to the select statement. So then it turns into select distinct tools, and now we only have hammer and nails. So in our case, that would be select distinct, and we want just the distinct genres to see, hey, what genres do we even have in our tables? For movies. So in total, it's not that many genres. So action, comedy, horror, romance, drama. Now we do the same thing with years. Year, sorry, here we go. So those are all the years. There's even a null. Okay. So okay, so we see already where this is going. We can do this pretty quick. Where is basically to specify probably closer, or to filter something, like kind of like filtering. So it can restrict our results to obtain only the information we want. So where the IMDb rating is greater than 8, for example. So we have equal, not equal, greater, less than, so the usual operands. So let's do that here. So we select everything from movies where the IMDb rating is smaller. So if you want to see bad movies, smaller than 5. Okay. Wait, let me make this bigger. Wait, I can't make this bigger? There we go. Maybe it's easier for you guys to read now. So, we see that we have a bunch of Twilight movies. What a coincidence. Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakle, only a 4.4. Only worse is 50 Shades of Grey. Interesting. You can play around with this. So if you only want, let's say we only want to see everything that is higher than 9. Nothing in there. Higher than 8? Okay, okay. Let's say higher than 8.5. There we go. Dark Knight, Star Wars, Inception, Inside Out? Really? Interesting. Cool. Edit query so that we now retrieve all the recent movies, specifically those that were released after 2014. So other columns. Okay. Okay, perfect. So year would then be where the year is bigger than no, sorry, bigger than 20. It's excluding 2014, right? Yeah, after 2014, so it would be this. Okay, so the recent movies. Okay. Perfect. Gucci Gucci. What's the time? Okay. Let's do 1 or 2 more and then I'm gonna end it a bit early. I'm gonna try to do a... just going through a bunch of rare things that what you can do. So the movie contains 2 films, similar titles, 7 and 7. So you can have, I don't know what you call this, but a conditional evaluation. There you go. So like, so it's kind of similar, and you say, hey, I don't really care about this, but it should include this and this. So it's a pattern with a wildcard. So the underscore is in this case a substitute. So we're gonna do that. So select everything from movies where name like and we see both movies here. One is better than the other, of course. Okay, let's do this one and then we wrap it up for today. The percentage sign is another wildcard character that can be used with like. The statement below filters the results set to only include movies with names that begin with the letter A. Okay, that probably means whatever comes after this, so not how many characters, doesn't care about that. Just the important part here is it starts with an A. This is probably, it's kind of like a weird regex. So this just is interested in, okay, it needs to contain man in it. What comes before after that is not important. So that's the statement we're gonna do. So select again everything from movies where name like man, and we get a bundle of man. So you see, for example, here's man. Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of grep. Yeah. So man here, man there, man. Yeah. So it takes capital, lowercase, whatever. Pretty woman. Perfect. Let's try one more. So we want those that begin with the word D. Okay, so that would just mean we do this. Oops. Third and one. Oh, they mean... But I mean, they need to specify that. So like this then. I mean, yeah, of course there can be something like theater or something like that. I assume this makes it more... Yeah. So it needs to be separated, because this is a separate word. Okay, perfect. Chat, I'm gonna end it a bit earlier. This was more like a kind of testy stream to see how it is to stream on both platforms. Yeah, let me know on Twitter or on Discord how the quality was on YouTube. So you can choose your platform that you like. Maybe get better options to for scaling or something like that on YouTube. So it's primarily for that. Also, if we end the stream, I hope this will be uploaded there automatically. I'm just gonna see how that looks later. Yeah, and maybe I can even upscale it a bit to have even better quality output. Yeah. Okay. We might continue with this over the next days. I'm not sure yet. Depends on how I will continue with the learning. Actually, let me turn on the cam. There you go. But it could also be that we do something completely else. Probably coming back to Try Hack Me over the next days, like for 1 or 2 rooms. Nothing too crazy. But I guess we can fill in like a room before the weekend, and at the weekend we can do a longer stream. So thank you again everyone for tuning in. Yeah, have a great rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever. And stay tuned with Twitter or just command Twitter and chat, or on Discord to get notified. The next one will be longer. This, like I said, this was more testy. Worked better than I expected. So next stream will be definitely a bit longer. But yeah, I have classes now, so I have to dip. Yeah, we see each other next time. Bye, chat.